So, hey, good afternoon. We're the Cola Guys. I'm David.
And I'm George.
We are joined this afternoon with our good friend. This is Cynthia Giles. She is the owner and CEO of Cutthroat Marketing here in Columbia, South Carolina. They are an award-winning marketing firm here in our state. Cynthia is also a very good friend of ours personally through the Greater Irmo Chamber of Commerce and even outside of that. So welcome to the podcast.
The Coal Guys isn't your average real estate podcast.
Our mission is to give buyers and sellers the power of knowledge through their real estate transactions.
We do this by helping first-time homebuyers realize that there are more expenses that come with owning a home than just the loan.
We also understand there are many times move-up buyers and sellers have forgotten the process because it's been so long since their last real estate transaction.
We make the downsizing easy.
Once you get into the habit of working with us, the process becomes so smooth you won't mind to move.
We are also excited to share with you what all the Midlands has to offer.
This episode is brought to you by Dick Dyer Mercedes-Benz, the first Mercedes-Benz in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking with Cynthia about internet safety. So to start it off, some people have a public social media account and others have private. Is it important to have a private account or does it not matter?
Okay. This is a great question. So it's actually not an answer of yes or no for private or public. It's a matter of being aware of how you're posting. And so you should make sure that if you are posting information that you don't want out there to the entire public, that you reduce the audience availability to who can see it. And so you have the availability on most social media platforms to determine who can see what you're posting. And so if you're posting pictures of your brand new child or that you're away on vacation, I would probably reduce the audience availability on that. So you're not just announcing to the random robber down the street that you're not in your house. Whereas your family hopefully isn't going to come rob you blind. And so that's kind of what's more important, is being aware of what you're posting and who can see it.
Awesome. So with that, some people, as they're starting to post, right, they don't take time to kind of slow down and look at those options. So what's some advice to that as they're going through that process?
Well, if you're not going to slow down and pay attention to what you're posting online, then maybe don't post online. My biggest pet peeve is when people are posting things about their young children that maybe the young children don't have a say about being public online, and they might regret that later in the future. You never know what you might be posting that might affect their possibility of employment later, and just their privacy, right? They're children now, but they have the right to privacy. So my recommendation is, if you're going to post something about your child in a very public setting and you might be concerned about if someone did that to you, then maybe don't post it. The other thing is, don't answer those quizzes. If someone is doing a copy and paste kind of thing and it's like a quiz and it's all of your personal information, you probably should not be posting that for the public. And so just don't copy and paste it and do it. Those are actually ways for people to try to guess your password, and it's not interesting to most people.
So before you can even post on any of these social media platforms, you first have to create a password. What are common mistakes you see people make in that process of creating a password?
The first is using password as a password. It is ridiculous how many people actually use password or password 123 as your password. I mean, if that's everybody's password, then it's not really a password, right? The second thing is, don't use passwords across the board. So your social media platform should have its own password, and it shouldn't be the same password for your bank. The chances of your social media account being hacked is really high. So if you have that password getting hacked and it's also your password for your bank account or your gas and utility bills, then chances are you're going to lose your credit card information and have an issue with identity theft. But if you just create a separate password for your social media accounts, then when they get hacked, it's not really that painful to you. It's just a social media account.
So these days there are apps like, I forget the names of them, but they create passwords for you, right? You have one password, it creates passwords for you. How safe are those? Can people rely on those, trust those as a way to create a secure password for all these different account types?
Yes, I recommend using them. I use one for my firm personally. I use Dashlane. I'm not paid by them to sell that at all whatsoever. I just find it's easier for me to use, whereas some of them have an issue with having multiple accounts. Like I have multiple Google accounts. And so when I'm trying to switch from one Google account to another, they have a tendency to fight with me, whereas Dashlane doesn't. And I only have one master password I have to remember to log into it, and then it generates its passwords for me. So that's a lot easier. It also alerts me when there's been a hack on one of my passwords or one of my accounts and tells me what to update. So it adds another level of security to it, but they usually cost money. And so if it's something that you are not in the world where you can spend a little bit of extra money every month on your internet security, my recommendation is to use a password that has nothing to do with you, but is easy to remember. For example, your favorite TV show, the day of the week that it airs, and the time. So you could say something like Grey's Wednesday 5, right? And that's your password. You're going to remember it, and it's not going to get hacked.
You said a word in there that I think stands out to a lot of people. You said update, and it's something that can be costly and also time consuming. In the internet world, yeah, that was weird, but I'll keep going. How important is it to update your software, and what's the probability that you'll be hacked if you don't?
Okay. I said so there you
No,
go.
yeah, now we're just evening out.
It's very important to run updates. In my world, the reason we run updates on programs that we've already written, because none of us want to go back and do the same work over again, right? We don't write our paper over and over again just for the sake of it. We're usually going back over the code because there was an issue with it. There was either a vulnerability that became a security risk or a feature that the consumer wanted to add. And so if you run the updates, then you get the new features, but you get to fill in those holes because we patched the security issue. So if you have old code on your website, then you're missing out on functionality, and you're probably upset about that, but you're probably also got all these holes allowing you to not only be hacked, but to be your identity be stolen from you. Hacking is not as commonplace on a computer as it used to be. It's actually more important to get your data. And what a lot of us don't understand is your name and your date of birth and your address and your social security number are all the data someone needs to make a bunch of money off of you. And you have just as much data as a business. So it's important you protect yourself online, and those updates help you with that.